Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the BetRivers Network. And we come to you on this championship Sunday night after two highly competitive, sometimes strange, with some weird decisions, but that's the way it is in the NFL these days. There's always a couple of plays that you leave you scratching your head. But Seattle and New England on their way to the Super Bowl, which is better for competitiveness rather than have Stidham in the game, having May in the game, even though May has not thrown the ball well. He did run the ball in key spots today. And, of course, the saga of Sam Darnold, Super Bowl Sam, now continues in what was a action-packed, wild game. And it looked like the Rams on so many occasions were going to take control, and they just couldn't take control. Give Seattle credit for that. I mean, obviously, the taunting penalty could have cost Seattle a trip to the Super Bowl. I mean, that was just selfish and stupid. But again, where the game changed was after the Rams held. And once again, as has been the case in every Ram loss this year, special teams reared its head. It has plagued the Rams all year. It has cost them dearly all year. They made a change in the coaching staff late in the season. It didn't improve things, and they muff a punt, and it cost them 7 points. And now, instead of just being down a couple of points as you go back and forth with the rotation, they're now down 2 scores, and they weren't able to get over the hump, despite the fact they went down the field and had the ball inside the 5-yard line with a chance to put it in the end zone, went on 3rd down, and then went on 4th down. And I'll tell you, I think you've seen time and again, and it has played out in these playoffs, and it has played out this year in this world of the new math, in this world of all the changes we have had that has influenced all sports and influenced the way guys run their games in the NFL. They have, in big games, forgotten the value of field goals to the point of ridiculousness. I mean, I could not believe on a day when defenses were going to be the dominant factor in a big way, with bad weather coming, after getting an explosive play that gave him a 7-0 lead, how Sean Payton, and listen, I have had a long-standing relationship with Sean. I have great respect for Sean as a play caller, as a program builder. He screwed up. He's got to go up 10-0 there with his defense and with a suspect quarterback. He could have gone up 10-0 in that game. Instead, he goes on 4th down, doesn't make it, doesn't even come close to making it, and they do not score again in the game. You cannot give up the value of going up 2 scores early with your defense on a day where the weather's going to worsen, and they have had trouble moving the ball. And I'm not saying it would have changed the mentality of the quarterback late in the first half because, hey, he should have taken a sack. And instead, they called it a backward pass and gave the ball deep in Denver territory and gave New England a very cheap touchdown on a day where they couldn't get the ball in the end zone, on a day where they couldn't throw the ball, on a day where really their only offense was a couple of runs inside and the play of their quarterback running the football, which he did on numerous occasions, which he did for a touchdown, which he did on a couple of critical 3rd downs, and which he did to end the game, which I thought was a incredible lapse by the Denver defense because they were never throwing the ball. They did not think Denver could score in any way. They didn't think they could move it. They didn't think they could kick a field goal. They thought they were going to win the game no matter what. They would have run the ball there, and to run it with the quarterback, you had to realize that was a threat considering how much he's used his legs. If he goes down on the field, they just punt it. All he has to do is hold on to the ball, and instead he gets a 1st down and ends the game. I thought Denver had a very, very shaky game after the Stidham to Mims connection. And I thought Sean did not have one of his better games. Now, again, hey, he is in a championship game with a backup quarterback who hasn't played in 2 years and has only played 4 games in his life. That's a tall order. And they lost by 3 points. Their defense was good today on a day where the weather was an enormous factor in the second half. There's no question, with the wind and snow and the temperature dropping. It was an enormous factor. We all know that. It was very tough to kick a field goal, although the last field goal that Denver missed was tipped. They didn't miss it because of the wind or the conditions. He missed it because it was tipped. They knocked it offline. A very tough loss for Denver. A good win for the Patriots, who will be a better threat. And so right now, and I think it will escalate. I think the line will go up, but right now, Seattle has opened as a 4-point favorite in the Super Bowl against New England. I think that number will go up. I think there'll be a lot of Seattle money. Seattle has been the better team. New England played some good defenses, but they did not move the ball well on offense. Their quarterback did not play well, and they played awful quarterbacks. Now, coming soon to the Mike Francesa newsletter is a new contest where you can win a personalized message from me or other prizes. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter already, go to Mike Francesa, go to the MikeFrancesaPodcast.com, MikeFrancesaPodcast.com, and get the free weekly newsletter delivered to your inbox. And you'll see about the prizes that you can win, including a personalized message if that's something that you want. Now, Denver, as we said, would have had to do a lot with Stidham with a backup quarterback to win that game. New England makes it a more competitive game, there's no question. And Seattle earned their way there. I mean, we knew there were going to be points scored. You knew the quarterbacks were going to move the football. You knew the great wide receivers were going to do what they do. And they did. They put up the numbers that you would expect them to put up, as they've put up all year. The 2 best wide receivers in the league were on the field today. And they both played superbly, as they always seem to do. Sam Darnold, the much maligned, much traveled Sam Darnold, is now in a Super Bowl and favored to win a Super Bowl after a terrific day today. Okay? He did not turn the ball over, which was critical without any question. Very, very key. And he winds up 25 of 36 for 346 and 3 touchdowns, which is a terrific day. Had 1 fumble, but he didn't lose it. What I like about him was he hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different receivers. He made some big plays to Bobo. He made big plays to Cooper Kupp, especially that late first down where he just got the ball over before his shoulder hit the ground. And I got to find out and investigate this because it has not been clarified. And now the line has moved at BetRivers to 4.5. I think, like I said, I think the line will hit 6. Seattle, I think the money will come in on them in the next couple of days. It's 4.5 now. It opened at 4. It's 4.5. Are they using? They put the chip in the ball and they put the mechanism to find out if it is a first down, utilizing the new technology. Are they utilizing that? We had critical plays today where there was no discussion of whether or not they were utilizing those. Why wouldn't they, on close plays, automatically utilize that mechanism? I thought that was the idea. The NFL has to do a far better job. And I understand that to, in any way, officiate an NFL game is very difficult. The athletes are big, strong, they move, they cover ground, they are great athletes. I understand to have officials who do the job in terms of integrity and being above reproach, not being in any way people they have to worry about in any way, and are thoroughly checked out, and then putting them on the field and asking them physically to do the job. I understand that is very tough. Plus, there is no way to make full-time officials because what would they do? There are no games for them to work on. It's not like they are going to get practice anywhere. So that doesn't work at all. But the NFL has to clarify. That is the thing that has to be better. Clarify these game situations. You have the technology to do it. Do a better job on what a catch is and what a catch isn't. We are still dealing with that. We've dealt with that over the last 5 years on numerous occasions. Let's clarify and get the competition committee to finally clarify what a catch is and make it something that can be legislated and called. And number two, okay, see if you can somehow just, again, simplify and clarify what pass interference is. Yes, there's always going to be controversial calls and controversial calls in big games. But you don't want a situation like Buffalo where half the world thinks one thing and half the world thinks another thing. I mean, we need to have this league clarify what is going on and do a better job in this regard. There are so many tight games, so many. The margin in these games now is so small, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One is I think they've made it very difficult to have coaches make a difference now. The Player Association has so much strength in and the game is so controlled as to what you can do and can't do in developing your team during a season. They can't do this. They can't do that. They can't do this in training camp. They can't do that. They can't do this. They can't do that. They can't do this. They have to have this off, this off, this off, this off. Can't do. You don't have the ability anymore as a coach to utilize your ability in developing players and developing units. They never work on special teams like they used to. They don't work on running game like they used to. And this has hurt the development of these teams where the teams are just incredibly close. And it comes down to whether or not you protect your quarterback, whether or not you have a fourth quarter pass rush to get to the other quarterback, and whether or not the quarterbacks are on that day and playing pitch and catch. Because let's be honest, most of this league is a pitch and catch league now when the games are on the line. Forget what went on in New England today. You had tough conditions. You had a Denver defense that led the league in sacks. You had a situation where you only have a second-year quarterback playing in a very noisy building on the road for the first time in his career, and the other is a quarterback who hadn't taken a real snap in 2 years and has only played 4 games in his whole career. And is, let's be honest, a career backup. In the second game, what did you have? Tell me how many times the ball hit the ground in the second half. Darnold was 25 of 36 for 346 in the game, and Stafford was 22 of 35 for 374 and 3 touchdowns. These guys threw for 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. They dominated the game. Their wide receivers had big yardage, 9 for 165. And 9 for 165 and 10 for 153. The 2 best receivers in the sport. Those are big numbers. Those are unstoppable numbers for the most part. And they're great players. Great players, both of them. They're the 2 best receivers in the sport. And Nakoa is as I've said, I think pound for pound, the best player in the league. I'm not counting quarterbacks. And might be the best wide receiver I've ever seen in terms of all around. his ability to block, his ability to run with the ball, his ability to play different positions, to get deep, to play in the slot, to do things that are really remarkable. He is an incredible football player. But these quarterbacks, let's be honest, if you get a stop late in the game, you want to throw a party because it's not easy to get stops in these games. It really isn't. It's become very difficult to do. Seattle has had a tremendous season. They played in a very tough division. They had 3 incredibly competitive games with the Rams. The Rams and their talented head coach and their talented quarterback, who's going to be the MVP of the regular season, are going to go home and probably think, hey, I think we were the best team, but we blew it. And they did. They did. They weren't good enough on defense when they needed to stop, but their special teams killed them in every one, whether it was giving up a punt return, getting a punt blocked, giving up a kickoff, muffing a punt. They continued to plague themselves with huge special teams mistakes at the least opportune moments. And that, obviously, they're going to make changes on special teams. You cannot dismiss in these big games what special teams means. Listen, we know with the pressure on, guys can miss a field goal. Hey, it's not the regular season where you're kicking one from 59 yards and you're thinking, hey, I can just knock it right down the middle. It's different in the playoffs. It's different when everything is on the line. You expect that. That's human nature. It's like making a putt in a big tournament in golf. It's a lot easier to make that putt on a Tuesday than it is on a Sunday with the tournament on the line. Same thing. But so many times people forget the importance of special teams, and special teams plays an incredible role in these games, and it felled the Rams. It completely crushed the Rams throughout the regular season, right through the postseason. It never got better. This was a team that looked like a Super Bowl team a lot of this year. Lost games it shouldn't have lost. And I'm sure tonight they're going to look at a lot of things in this game and think the same way. It's a bit of defeat, but a great win for Seattle, and what a very talented young coach has done in Seattle. And I personally, and I'm sure a lot of people are, thrilled for Sam Darnold, who has seen his career come full circle and now will be favored to take home the Super Bowl trophy, and I hope he does. I would love to see Sam win it. I really would. I think that would be a tremendous story. And we all know Sam can make a big mistake, but he also is not afraid to make big plays, and he made a bunch of them tonight. This has been a terrific, in terms of competitiveness and dramatic games and drama in so many ways in the fourth quarter. This has been a tremendous playoff year in the NFL. The numbers have been astronomical, and I'm sure today's numbers will be off the charts because we all know that the snowstorm that was predicted and has swept across the entire country landed in a big way. So people had nowhere to go. So the numbers have to be astronomical heading into the Super Bowl. Is this the most, tremendous? Is this the glamour matchup that people would have hoped for? No. New England's an interesting story, obviously, with a second-year quarterback, and the Pats, who now go back again to a Super Bowl and have rebuilt very quickly. And what they've done remarkably in Vrabel's year, both these coaches have done, is remarkable. The Sam Darnold story will be a very interesting one. May being there in his second year is going to be a very interesting one. And everything, there's always storylines, but so many people wanted Josh Allen and the Bills to get there. And if they were there against the Rams or the Bears, it would be an incredibly marquee Super Bowl. So we'll see how this one gains attention and really draws people in. You never know when you're going to get a good Super Bowl or a bad one. But the way this year has been, so many of these games, like today again, dramatic right down to the finish. So Denver with a backup quarterback on a day where the weather worsened dramatically throughout the day could not find itself when it needed to, could not make the play that it had to make after passing up an opportunity to go up 10-0 and then getting that turnover. Denver could have very easily gone into the half at 10-0, and I really believe they would be alive tonight if that had happened. It didn't. The quarterback made a mistake. New England made him pay. New England got the third quarter, had the wind, and was able to take command and made that stand up throughout the entire fourth quarter. And somehow Seattle, when it looked like they were going to relinquish the lead and Sam Darnold was going to have to bring them from behind, did not let a team that has been in the end zone all year. Stafford and his receivers have been in the end zone all year. They were the most explosive team in the league. They had the most explosive passing attack in the league, and they did not get there. Not on 3rd and 4, not on 4th and 4. Where they could have gone for a field goal with 5 minutes left. But again, they would have had to get the ball back, and they weren't able to do that with any time on the clock. They did obviously make a couple of completions in the final seconds as the game ended. Again, with a little controversy as to whether Nakua had gotten out of bounds or he didn't. They said he didn't, so take them at their word. So now we're down to one game. New England, a 4.5-point underdog to a Seattle team that has turned things around dramatically under its very talented young head coach. And in 2 weeks, we'll have a Super Bowl and see how things go. Now, for all intents and purposes, hey, this is where the NFL season as we know it says goodbye. The Super Bowl is a very different day. Obviously, it's an American holiday, and it's something for everybody, whether you are there for the commercials, there for the halftime, you have boxes somewhere that, you're hoping to make a big score, or whatever it is. It's one big party. And hopefully a decent football game. I've been to many, and some have been dramatically good, and some have been just over in the second quarter. So you just never know. But that's where we're headed in 2 weeks. And you start to turn the page now to other things. As we still have coaching jobs to fill, and we have a lot to talk about, and we will do that tomorrow. We'll do some emails. We'll also get a little bit into what's still going on and what jobs are vacant and how they're going to be filled. I think a couple of them will be filled in the next 2 days. And I think things are starting to settle in. And it'll be very interesting because, listen, who's going to go to Vegas? Some people have some interest in that, but what really, because they're going to have the number one pick, and people think maybe they could turn that around rather quickly. But obviously, people are very interested in Buffalo, which could turn around with Josh Allen and the people there and see if next year they can maybe push through. We got through a playoffs without the Chiefs. Did we miss them? Hey, to be fair, the ratings say no. The games were dramatic. So maybe we didn't miss them as much as we thought we would. I thought we'd miss them. And I don't think we missed them as much as I thought we would. Once again, coming soon to the Mike Francesa newsletter is a new contest where you could win a personalized message from me or other prizes. If you haven't signed up, go to the Mike Francesa podcast at MikeFrancesa'Podcast.com. Get the free weekly newsletter delivered to your inbox. We will be with you with a email show so you can send your emails in. We will get to a whole bunch of them and some other topics tomorrow. We will do that tomorrow before noon. I don't know exactly what time yet, but probably sometime between 10 and noon tomorrow. So be looking for that as we have a lot of stuff to discuss. So it's the Pats right now as 4.5-point underdogs to Seattle as we look ahead in 2 weeks to a Super Bowl to culminate what has been a crazy, and I do mean crazy, NFL season. We'll see you later.